Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistuki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Continue reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order. Chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaj leaves home. And we'll be reading text number 39 and 40. I think 40 is on the sheet. Okay, so I'll read text 39 and we'll do text 40 together. Text 39. Maitriya uvacha iti udharitam karya bhagavan naradasthata prita pratyahatam balam satvakyam anukampaya. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued. The great personality Narad Muni, upon hearing the words of Dhruva Maharaj, became very compassionate towards him. And in order to show him his causeless mercy, he gave him the following expert advice. There's a little purport. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Since the great sage Narad is the foremost spiritual master, naturally his only activity is to bestow the greatest benefit upon whomever he meets. Dhruva Maharaj, however, was a child, and so his demand was also that of a playful child. Still, the great sage became compassionate towards him, and for his welfare he spoke the following verses. Okay, text 40, word for word. Narada uvacha jananya bihita pantaha sa vai nishreyashasya te bhagavan vasudevas tam bhaja tam pravana atmana. Narada uvacha jananya bihita panta Sava Nishreya Shashyate Bhagavan Vasudevastam Bhajatam Pravanatmana. Narada Uvacha Jananya Bihita Panta Sava Nishreya Shashyate Bhagavan Vasudevastam Bhajatam Pravatatmana. Narada Uvacha Janyaya Bhita Panta Sava Nishreyashyate Bhagavan Vasudevastam Bhajatam Pravanatmana. Narada Uvacha. Narada Uvacha. Word for word. Narada Uvacha. The great sage Narad said, Jananya, by your mother, Abhihita, stated, Panta, the path, Saha, that, why, certainly, Nishreya Shasya, the ultimate goal of life. Hey, for you, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, Krishna, come unto him, bhaja, render your service, come by him, pravana atmana, fully absorbing your mind. Translation. The great sage Narad told Dhruva Maharaj, the instruction given by your mother Suniti to follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just suitable for you. You should therefore completely absorb yourself in the devotional service of the Lord. Please repeat. The great sage Narad told Dhruva Maharaj, the instruction given by your mother Suniti to follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just suitable for you. You should therefore completely absorb yourself in devotional service to the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dhruva Maharaja's demand was to achieve an abode even greater than Lord Brahma's. Within this universe, Lord Brahma is supposed to be in the most exalted position, for he is the chief of all demigods. But Dhruva Maharaj wanted a realm beyond this. Therefore, his desire was not to be fulfilled by worshipping any demigod. As described in Bhagavad Gita, the benedictions offered by the demigods are all temporary. Therefore, Narad Muni asked Dhruva Maharaj to follow the path recommended by his mother to worship Krishna, Vasudeva. When Krishna offers anything, it is beyond the expectation of the devotee. Both Suniti and Narad Muni knew that the demand of Dhruva Maharaj was impossible for any demigod to fulfill, and therefore both of them recommended following the process of devotional service to Lord Krishna. Narad Muni is referred here to as Bhagavan because he can bless any person just as the Supreme Personality of Godhead can. He was very pleased with Dhruva Maharaj, and he could have at once personally given whatever he wanted. But that is not the duty of the spiritual master. The duty is to engage the disciple in proper devotional service as prescribed in the Shastras. Krishna was similarly present before Arjuna, and even though he could have given him all facilities for victory over the opposing party without a fight, he did not do so. Instead, he asked Arjuna to fight. In the same way, Narad Muni asked Dhruva Maharaj to undergo devotional discipline in order to achieve the desired result. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurul Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschatta Deshatarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास हरि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Translation. The great sage Nara told Dhruva Maharaj, the instructions given by your mother Suniti to follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just suitable for you. You should therefore completely absorb yourself in the devotional service of the Lord. Here Narad Muni instructs or gives advice to Dhruva Maharaj, which was simply to follow the instructions of his mother and to engage in devotional service to Lord Krishna. So in these two verses we've read, we see that even Narad Muni is being addressed as Bhagavan. So there's Krishna, who is Bhagavan, Vishnu Tattva is Bhagavan, and here we find that the great personalities are also addressed as Bhagavan. And here we see Narad Muni is being addressed as Bhagavan in chapter text 39. So Bhagavan also can refer to great personalities like the demigods and great spiritual masters like Narad Muni. So in a purport, this term now has become, Bhagavan has become or being used very loosely, especially in India. And we see whatever is in India, it automatically goes out to the rest of the world, especially among the Indian community. And we see in South Africa sometimes this term Bhagavan is very loosely used. Bhagavan this, Bhagavan that, because it's coming from India. People go especially to the cities and they somehow hear people who are not scholarly, they don't meet devotees and so many types of mystic yogis performing miracles, and so he hears Bhagavan. So it's very loosely used. So in a purport from the Bhagavad Gita, one second. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai. Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Gaur Hari ki jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai. Chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita, Text 2, purport. Prabhupada writes, Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Krishna is referred here to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. Bhagavan is the ultimate absolute truth. Absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma, or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1-11, this concept of the Absolute Truth is thus explained. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabhyate. Translation. The Absolute Truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the Absolute Truth. All of them are identical. Such phases are the absolute truth, are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Later on in this purport, Prabhupada continues and he further explains the concept of Bhagavan. The Sanskrit word Bhagavan is explained by the great authority Parasa Muni, the father of Vyasadeva, the Supreme Personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called Bhagavan. There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached. But no one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strength, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No living entity, including Brahma, Shiva, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulences fully as Krishna. Therefore, it is concluded in the Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma himself that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is the primeval Lord of Bhagavan, known as Govinda, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. And Prabhupada quotes Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 1. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Translation. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because no one can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. And there's another quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. In the Bhagavatam also there is a list of incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Krishna is described as the original personality of Godhead from whom many incarnations and personalities expand. Ete kamsha kalaha pumsha krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrayari vyakulam lokam mirdayanti yuge yuge. Translation. All the lists of incarnations of Godhead submitted herewith are either plenary expansions or parts of the plenary expansions of the Supreme Godhead. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So in another purport, actually it's from a talk given by Srila Prabhupada in Bombay, 5th November 1974, on the Bhagavatam, Canto 3, text, chapter 25, text 5 and 6. Prabhupada says, and he further explains Bhagavan. So, if we actually are interested in understanding spiritual knowledge, we must approach the representative of Acharya Upashanam. And Acharya means who follows Vyasadeva. Just like Maitreya, Dvaipayana, Shaka, Maitreya, Bhagavan. He has been addressed as Bhagavan. Of course, the Supreme Personality is Bhagavan, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. But other powerful person, just like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva or Vyasadeva, Maitreya, very big personalities. They are also sometimes addressed as Bhagavan. Narada Deva, they are Bhagavan. Actual Bhagavan is Krishna, but they have attained as far as possible, if not possible, to have the 100% knowledge of Krishna. No one can do that. Even Narayana cannot do that. Even Vishnu cannot do that. But those who are, I mean to say, devotees and followers of Krishna's instruction fully are sometimes called Bhagavan. So here we see why Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, they are also sometimes addressed as Bhagavan. Prabhupada says, but those who are, I mean to say, devotees or followers of Krishna's instruction fully, they are also sometimes called Bhagavan. But that Bhagavan does not mean artificial Bhagavan. Bhagavan means he who knows what Krishna has taught. See? Very nicely, clearly explained by Prabhupada. He is also Bhagavan, just like Narad Muni. He is following Krishna's instructions and he is teaching Krishna's instructions. Therefore, these great personalities, the demigods, Narad Muni, they are also addressed as Bhagavan. That's Bhagavan should not be confused. In this verse we read of Narad Muni being called Bhagavan. That's because he strictly follows the instructions of Krishna, 100%. And we further read in this purport, we understand spiritual authority. Both Suniti, the mother of Dhruva Maharaj, and Narad Muni, they're encouraging Dhruva to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is also a very nice point on accepting disciplic succession. In chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, text 2, Lord Krishna says, this supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. So this is the reason why Lord Krishna, he speaks Bhagavad Gita again. It appears to be lost. And therefore now he first spoke Bhagavad Gita to the sun god over 2 million years ago. And in the course of time it became broken or lost. And now Krishna is speaking again the same Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Prabhupada writes in the purport, it is clearly stated that the Gita was specially meant for the saintly kings because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens. Certainly Bhagavad Gita was never meant for the demoniac persons who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretations according to personal whims. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of unscrupulous commentators, there arose the need to re-establish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord himself that the disciplic succession was broken, and therefore he declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment, also there are many editions of the Gita, especially in English, but almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Krishna. This spirit is demoniac because demons do not believe in God but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme. Since there is a great need of an edition of the Gita in English, it is received by the Parampara, disciplic succession system. An attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad Gita, as it is, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity. But if it is accepted as a treatise for philosophical speculation, it is simply a waste of time. Very strong words by Srila Prabhupada. But here he is stressing the need of the disciplic succession. And that will give us the greatest or the fullest benefit. As we see how Dhruva Maharaj has been instructed by Narad Muni, you simply follow the instruction of your mother. And is encouraged, they are doing this because they found that what Dhruva Maharaj wanted, even the demigods could not fulfill. One second. So Prabhupada also says, he gives a lecture just to understand the disciplic succession. So this this process of understanding Bhagavad Gita, this is the process of understanding Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, I am speaking from this 4th chapter. The secret of understanding Bhagavad Gita is there. And if you follow these principles, just like when you purchase a bottle of medicine from when you purchase a bottle of medicine, I mean to say, a drug shop, there is a dose. Read, this medicine is to be taken in this dose. If you want the direction, if you follow the direction of the bottle label, then you will get benefit. Similarly, there is a direction, evam parampara praptam. You have to, Bhagavad Gita 4:2, you have to understand Bhagavad Gita from the disciplic succession. And that means one who is a devotee, the disciplic succession devotee. Otherwise, there is no possibility. Prabhupada is stressing this. There is no possibility. If that disciplic succession is something else than devotional service, then he cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. There are many practical experiences. And so, Bhagavad Gita, there are many practical experiences. And so many scholars, books have been studied, and their commentary is all nonsense because they are not bhakta. They try to understand Bhagavad Gita simply by their academic qualification. That is not possible. It is simply, if someone is trying to understand Bhagavad Gita by his academic qualification, what is the value of this academic qualification? There is no value in the presence of spiritual science. It is a different thing. It is to be understood in a different process. So Prabhupada is clearly saying that if we receive the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita from someone who is not a devotee, someone who is not in the disciplic succession, it has no value. I remember once, so also we are fortunate to be in disciplic succession because we are protected. Because we are receiving the same teachings coming down from Lord Krishna. I remember once, maybe about 10 years ago, I was asked to drive a few devotees to an interfaith conference on the Durban beachfront. And Rukmani Mataji, a few devotees, they went. So it was on the beachfront, so I had to park outside on the street. So I was just asked to drive, so I thought, no, I don't have to go I can just sit out here. But it was at night, and then I was sitting in the car, the whole atmosphere was so dangerous. Then I decided to actually go up. So I went and I was part of the audience. And they had a panel, all different faiths, cultures, and different presentations were made. The African cultures and Islamic culture and Christian culture. And Hindu culture, and then the Hare Krishnas were there. I think Rukmani did the presentation that night. So I was there in the audience, I was watching. There's maybe about close to 100 people there. And it was in a conference hall in probably one of the block of flats or hotels. I was sitting and watching, hearing what's going on. And different people were doing, they had like a set topic, and each culture would make a presentation on that topic. I can't remember what the topic was, but there was one Christian person who called himself, he was introduced as a reverend. I can understand maybe he's a high priest in the church or something. So he spoke, and during his talk, he mentioned that he could not understand how in the Christian religion, at that time he said that there were 49,000 different sects. I could understand there were like different churches, different groups. So there must be different philosophies as well. There were 49,000 different Christian organizations on the planet. And he appeared a little bewildered. He was thinking about how can this happen? They know Jesus and they know Bible from like basically one book and one person, or maybe God, or maybe two persons. How come there's 49,000 different churches? Because there's no disciplic succession, there's no Guru Parampara. Everyone is doing their own thing. So we are fortunate that we are protected in this way through the Guru Parampara system. If someone deviates, we can, even if a senior person deviates, we can help them to bring them back. This is the teachings of the Parampara. You have deviated, you have fallen down because you were not strictly following. And in this way, in a nice way, we can bring them back. But here we see, according to this reverend who actually visited the temple, because at one stage later on, Sri Radhanath hosted that conference. And they had the conference here in the temple room. They went down to Govinda's for the prasadam and things like that. So that reverend came. I remembered him. And so he came, and I didn't speak to him, but when I saw him, I remember that he was the one that made that comment, that he was like bewildered why there were 49,000 different churches or sects in the Christian organization or Christian religion. And he said he can't understand how this is happening. But what we can see from our experience is that someone goes and studies in a college, and they get enlightened a little, and they start preaching very nicely, and they get followers, and they start their own little church. There's no control. And as a result, people are cheated because they don't have the shelter. We are fortunate we have the shelter of the disciplic succession. So in today's verse also, the last line, let's read that. Krishna was similarly present before Arjuna, and even though he could have given him all facilities for victory over the opposing party without a fight, he did not do so. Instead, he asked Arjuna to fight. In the same way, Narad Muni advised Dhruva Maharaj to undergo devotional discipline in order to achieve the desired result. Although we have the process and we have the instructions of the bona fide spiritual teacher, still we have to undergo devotional discipline. So we'll just read a few quotes that I found, which is quite nice about devotional discipline. So this is actually from a devotee called Subhananda Das, which I found on the Vedabase, the hymns of the Brahma Samhita, and he comments on that. And this was a very nice little description of devotional discipline. This devotional discipline goes beyond conventional piety. It necessitates constant endeavor for self-realization. Brahma Samhita, text 59. Involving both turning from worldliness and sense gratification and an adherence to spiritual practices and behavior under the guidance of authorized scripture. Through such practice, then the materialist is soon purified of his tendency towards philosophical negation and comes to understand the nature of positive transcendence. So he speaks this on from a verse or text from Brahma Samhita, text 59. So we can read that and get further clarification. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization. With the help of scriptural evidence, theistic conduct and perseverance in practice. Sounds very difficult. Purport is by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that's even more difficult to understand his writings. When the devotees were printing, Prabhupada instructed the devotees in the BBT to print the Brahma Samhita, and they asked Prabhupada, do you want to add on anything or make any changes? Prabhupada said, no, just print it as it is, as my Guru Maharaj has presented it. So Brahma Samhita is, and Prabhupada said that only he could understand his Guru Maharaj's writings. And if we understand Prabhupada's writings, then we'll understand the entire Guru Parampara's writings. And if you understand Prabhupada's position. And Prabhupada said, no, I could only understand what my Guru Maharaj said. And it's a fact. Many devotees, even amongst the contemporaries of Srila Prabhupada in the Gaudiya Math, they even had like doubts about the prediction of Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya said that this holy name will spread through every town and village of the world. It was very difficult for them to understand. And even after Srila Bhakti Siddhanta sent 3 of his leading sannyasis to London, they didn't, they just went, they met the royal family and they came back. So it was difficult. And then they had doubts about that prediction of Lord Chaitanya. So therefore Prabhupada said, only I could understand the teachings and the writings of my Guru Maharaj. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Maharaj, Prabhupada Ki Jai. He writes, evidence, the devotional scriptures, example Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Gita, etc. Theistic conduct, the conduct of pious persons, sadhus, who are pure devotees, and the conduct of those pious persons who practice devotion to Godhead, actuated by spontaneous love. So that was one point. Second point, the first point was evidence, the second point was theistic conduct, and now we read of practice. To learn about the 10 basic principles, Dasha Mula, from the Sastras, and on receiving the name of Hari as laid down in the same, embodying the name, form, qualities and activity of the divinity, to practice the chanting of the name by serving Him night and day. By this are meant the study of the Sastras and association with sadhus. The tenfold offense to the holy name ceases by serving the name of Hari and simultaneously practicing pious conduct. Practice is no other than following the mode of service of the name practiced by the sadhus without offense. By perseverance in such practice and devotion, characterized by love, which is the fruit of spiritual endeavor, makes her appearance in the pure essence of the soul. It's quite exalted and esoteric to understand, but we should always keep on reading, read again and again to get more clear understanding. So devotional discipline is required to achieve Krishna consciousness, or the ultimate end, pure devotional service to Lord Krishna. So here we read of some ideas, and we can keep that at the back of our minds, especially when there's thoughts of deviation, things like that. I must be disciplined, and we should pray to Krishna, to pray to Shri Radha Radhana to help us. Hare Krishna, we stop there. Take your comments and questions. Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.